Hello, everybody. My name is Erik Randall. Today, we will be discussing basically LTE CPEs in general. Uh, what we're going to be doing is, get over here. So we're going to do a BuySells introduction real quick. I know no one really likes introductions anymore. So I'll do a quick BuySells introduction. I'll get into understanding LTE CPEs. So just understanding what the categories are, what the CPEs are, what they are in private LTE, like your band 48. Then I'll go into BuySells LTE CPE portfolio, and then utilizing our eNode B to kind of display which of the LTE CPEs would be best for which eNode Bs essentially. And then I'll go into a couple of use cases where we've utilized several different CPEs and different networks to show why they worked there and how you could utilize that in your network as well. All right, so a quick BuySells intro. We are a global manufacturer of LTE. We've done every band possible when it comes to LTE. In North America, though, we predominantly deal with band 41 and band 48 for the private LTE networks. So we offer an entire solution. So we have the entire LTE solution from eNode Bs to EPC, all the way out to your SIM cards and your CPEs. Or we could just offer one to put into your network. So say you have a Nokia or an Ericsson network, but you just want our CPEs, we do have that option as well. Or if you just want to use our eNode Bs in your network, we have those options. We do have a long-term approach with 5G, in the near horizon in the next, 3 to 6 months. We provide ongoing support, and our primary goal is to connect the unconnected. So like I said, we are a global manufacturer. We have about 10 global tier 1 operators. We started in 2014, and then in 2016, BuySells came to North America. We came in with 47 network deployments, trial deployments, and since then in North America, we have blossomed to over 600 network deployments. We are in over 600 countries, and LTE bands will change throughout all of those countries. So even though we just do 41 and 48 here in North America, we do have other bands if your network needs them. So let's talk about CPEs in general. So what is an LTE CPE? CPE stands for customer premise equipment. It is essentially that piece of equipment that's sitting outside of a customer's house that's collecting the data from an eNode B to convert it to usable data for the actual customer. So with LTE, it is a standard. So you have different devices to choose from. The OnGo Alliance, part of the CBRS, they help certify all of the CPEs or end user devices. They have certified over 475 end user devices at this time. So with it being 3GP LTE, you could use any kind of device within the ecosystem itself. So whether it's one of these outdoor pieces of equipment here, these outdoor CPEs, or if you're using, say, an iPad with LTE connectivity, band 48, all of those can connect back through an LTE network, and they're all part of being a CPE. So CPEs have many different names. CBSD, which stands for CBRS device, EUD, which stands for end user device, UE, which stands for user equipment. They all are essentially the same thing, and it's just that, connecting device near the customer's premise. So CBRS LTE devices. What is a CBSD? It is the Citizens Broadband Radio Service Devices. And what that basically means is it's band 48 CBSDs. So they have 3 different types of CBSDs. So one being an EUD, an end user device, like the iPad mini here. Max power, keeps it really low, 23 dBm max power. So with CBRS, you have to register your devices in a database. With the different CBSDs and EUD, you don't have to register that device because there's not enough power for the SAS, for that database to care. So your tablets, your phones, and some outdoor devices like this, they can be EUDs and you don't have to register them in the SAS, which is the database. So part of that SaaS is you have to pay a fee for it each month, and they have control of it. So having an EUD, if your network can afford to do it, have that low power, it helps eliminate a small portion of your monthly fees with around 250 per device, and you have full control of it. So that's an EUD. Now there's two other CBSDs, and it's CBSD-A and CBSD-B. CPEs are pretty much registered as CBSD type B. They have a max power of 23 dB, but they need to be registered in the SAS. So this device here is, I think it's right around 33 dB EIRP. It's got an integrated antenna, and it runs both as a CBSD type B, and if you change the firmware, this can be changed into an EUD. So you'd have the option on some CPEs to go back and forth between whether it's a CBSD-B or an EUD. All right, so with the LTE CBSDs, there are different categories, and each category provides different features. And as you get higher in the categories, you get better features. So our devices, right now we have 4 different categories in our devices: a category 4, 6, 12, and 15. The category 4, the max it can do is a single carrier. So the max a category 4 can do is 20 megahertz. That limits its download speeds to about 150 megabits per second. It could only do a max of 2x2 MIMO as well. The uplink does 16 QAM, the downlink does 64 QAM. Again, that's a category 4. When you move from category 4 to 6, you'll see that the 6 can do 2 carrier ag. It can also do 4x4 MIMO. And as you move farther in the categories, you'll see category 12 does 3 carrier aggregation. The modulation gets better. And then category 15 does 5 carrier aggregation. And again, you'll see the modulation get up to that 256. So that's a quick LTE rundown on what LTE CPEs are. So let's look at the BuySells LTE portfolio. So all of our devices are 3GP compliant. They are all part of the OnGo Alliance, and they are compatible with all the SaaS providers. They all have integrated antennas, but some of them you can put on reflector dishes to give it a little extra range. They have direct connectivity to your NMS platform, or you can use our OMC as a connectivity point. They have direct connectivity to the SAS, or again, you can go directly through the OMC for that as well. Some of them do have that EUD variant to lower the power and get it up to, and get it to where you don't have to have it in the SAS. All right, so quick rundown on how the BuySells part number looks. So we have 4 different parts. We have the atom. That atom means that it's going to be a CPE. Then we have an OD or an ID, which is going to stand for indoor or outdoor. Then we're going to have the category. So an atom OD06 is a CPE that is outdoor category 6. Then there might be a designator beyond it with a dash. In this case, we're looking at a dash LX, and the LX stands for low cost. So you'll see the special characteristics down there: EUD for end user device, HP for high performance, H for high gain, L for low gain, and again, LX for low cost. So an Atom OD06-LX means a BuySells CPE outdoor category 6 low cost. And that's actually this one right here in front of me. All right, so some optimal CPE use cases. We'll run through these real quickly. So we'll start with the Nova 227. It's our eNode B. It is our smallest. It's where we built our platform from. It is a single carrier, and it does a max modulation of 64 QAM. So with an eNode B like this, you would only need about a category 4 CPE. So if you have a small area where you're just trying to do a few houses, a category 4 LTE CPE would be all you need to connect back to this 227. You're not going to have any more on the carrier side. You're not going to have that additional MIMO. So with our Nova 227, the best use case would be that category 4, so an OD04 CPE. All right. So when we move forward, we also have our next level up, our Nova 436Q. This is going to be a 2x2 base station, but it does 2-carrier aggregation. So in that case, you'll want to step up from a category 4 to a category 6 CPE. So in that case, you would look at the OD06 as kind of your best case scenario for this. That allows you to take advantage of the multiple carrier, get you more throughput. So for our Nova 436 and most LTE Bs out there right now, the max they're doing is 2-carrier aggregation with a 2x2 system. So that's what you want to look at for your LTE CPE, is mainly a category 6. So now our big boy, the 846, currently doing 2x2. Currently doing 4x4 MIMO, but it's only currently doing 2-carrier ag with 3-carrier ag and 4 carriers coming down the line. So something like this is where you would want to look at taking advantage of, when that 3-carrier ag is available, you don't want to go out to each house and constantly do upgrades there. So that's where the category 15, the OD15 CPE would come into play. So with that category 15, you can start now at 2-carrier aggregation. And when you change your RAN to go from 2 carriers to 3 carriers, that category 15 CPE will follow along, allowing you to essentially get 50% more throughput at that customer house. So the quick chart, so the 227, the Nova 227, the ideal CPE is going to be at the category 4. The 436, the ideal CPE is going to be that category 6. And then our 846, the ideal is going to be the category 15. So you could always get the category 15 where it's a little bit more expensive, but it's not always the ideal best case scenario for your network itself. So that is something to consider when you're looking at buying CPEs. So now we'll just go through a quick rundown of our indoor and outdoor CPEs. Later this month, we're going to have the Atom ID15 come out. It's going to be both a CBSD and an EUD. These are going to be indoor units with Wi-Fi 6 meshable technology there. So if you have, say an 846, a Nova 846 in your network, or even anything else that's doing multiple carriers, if you're close to that tower, that's where having this device would come into play. The HP is a high performance, so it has really good gain, and it has lots of throughput for both your download and upload. And with the meshable technology, this is a great future-proof device for now and probably several years down the road. A couple of our older indoor units, we have the Atom ID06 and the Atom ID04. So that's a category 6 and category 4. The Wi-Fi for indoor use on both of those are just BGN. So the Wi-Fi is not that great, but this will do everything you need it to do. We do have, and I'll talk about a use case for this here in just a few minutes, where school systems are using this to deploy. And this is giving those users everything they need. It's giving them, 100 meg down. It's giving them Wi-Fi through the house. This is doing everything they need for it. With both of these indoor units, so these are CBSDs and they cannot be changed to EUDs. So our outdoor portfolio, we have 2 category 4s, 3 category 6s, and 1 category 15. So the category 15 is, a CBSD, or it could be an EUD. You can lower the power down based upon the firmware to where you don't have to put it in the SAS. It can get up to 4 carriers on the downlink and 2 carriers on the up and do 256 QAM. So these guys right here can get anywhere from about 600 to 800 megabits downlink depending on the antenna array. The Atom ODO6, we have three variants: the LX, which is low cost, and we have low gain and high gain. The LX is the only one that's also available in EUD. And then we have our Atom high gain and low gain category 4s, and they're both also CBSDs. All of these can be used with Wi-Fi alignment for easy alignment. So right now, we're currently running a special on both our category 15 and OD06LX. So if you have any questions about this special, get a hold of your Winncom sales rep and they'll definitely help you out with this special. So again, both of these, the category 15 and the LX, they can be EUD variants, so you don't have to put them in the SAS. A couple of other devices we have a little pocket router. This is a band 48, band 41 device that'll collect that LTE signal and then give you a small Wi-Fi pocket. It is micro USB to where you can carry this with you. The battery lasts anywhere from about 4 to 8 hours. And you put in your SIM card, you're up and running. It's category 12. And I'll talk about a use case with this here in just a second as well. Now we'll talk about not CPEs, but Wi-Fi devices. So we have two Wi-Fi devices. The first one being a snap router. That's this one here in front of me. And the snap router is good because it has a PoE, a passive PoE port. So you could actually bring 24 volts passive in to power up the PoE, power up the router, or you could do a power supply and then do PoE out. So the PoE out is 24 volt passive, and it allows us to actually power up any Baicells CPE. And there are some other third-party outdoor CPEs that this can power. So this gives you your WAN port to go to that CPE, then it gives you two LAN ports as well. This can be remotely managed through our OMC Cloud Core to where you can reboot it, shut off some ports, shut down the Wi-Fi all remotely for ease of use in network management functionalities. All right, the next one's going to be our Wi-Fi 6 router right here. It's fairly tiny. Wi-Fi 6, mesh up to 3 of these, gets you a whole home coverage, and it's 802.11.ax, so gets you up to about 1,200 megabits per second through your home. All right, so a couple of use cases. The first one that we like to talk about quite a bit is the city of Las Vegas. The city of Vegas came to us and said, hey, at the beginning of the pandemic, they needed help with getting a network deployed quickly. And they were asking what we could do to help that. So they were saying they didn't have, the best networking staff, and they didn't have time to learn LTE. So we introduced them to our cloud core, gave them a demo of our cloud core, and they were off and running. So they deployed our 436Q. And when they did that, they were able to cover anywhere from about, 1 to 3 miles, but everything they kept it fairly close because these were for the students. The students, they were giving them out indoor units, the ID06s, and they were also giving out the OD06s, the outdoor 06s. And the students would point it toward this building, which is right near the stratosphere, and they would get connectivity that way. So utilizing the 436 RE Node B with 2 different types of CPEs, they were the city of Vegas was easily able to deploy a network very quickly. So once they got this network up and running, they were trying to figure out other things they can do with the network to, get better use of it. So they found that they have utilities throughout the entire city of Las Vegas that they would have to roll a truck out to figure out if, hey, this trash can's full, it needs to be dumped. So they put sensors out there, band 48 LTE sensors. Again, because it's 3GP compliant, they were able to talk back to our 436 and through our system. And these sensors would say, hey, this trash can's full, send a truck out to empty it. So they are utilizing their, easy education deployment into something new, into the utilities market now as well. So with an LTE system, you can start with a single use scenario and then expand from there because LTE allows that. All right, another quick case study. the Taste of Madison happened about 2-3 weeks ago. Um, celebrated their 40th anniversary, and what it is just a big celebration there in Madison, where they get together with a bunch of people, about 250,000 over the course of the weekend, and they have lots of food, lots of beer, lots of wine. The problem that they faced in the past was the point of sales machine, because there were so many people in that small area. The POS machines were having connectivity issues. It was very inconsistent. So they came to us asking if we had a different solution that they could look at. And we told them, if you do a private LTE out there, you could have the POS connect back to our pocket router. Our pocket router having its own dedicated LTE connectivity back to their system. So what they decided to do, instead of doing it for all the POS, they wanted to try it out with just the beer tents. They knew that beer was their biggest seller for the weekend, so they wanted to try it out with them. So there were 13 beer tents, and to cover the entire area, we put up 2 436 queues, and they had the 13 pocket routers throughout these different beer tents. And inside those beer tents, they would put the pocket router, and they would have a small Wi-Fi system that their point of sales machines would connect back to it. Everything went completely seamless, except they had one issue, and they weren't charging the pocket routers throughout the day. So after about 6 hours, we would just send them out another pocket router there on site, and they would connect it back. We will be having a full case study on this soon, so be on the lookout for that. And the other thing I can say is, we do have a YouTube channel where we post all of our case studies and a few of our webinars. I would recommend going there and checking out the case studies. They are, about 10 minutes long each, and they're actually really good production type events, instead of just being a case study where you talk through. So I definitely, recommend checking out our YouTube page and checking out the case studies. All right. Thank you for attending. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat now, and I can see about helping you guys out. All right. I don't see any questions. Do you, Elaine?
I do not see any questions.
All right, perfect. Well, I like keeping these short and sweet. Looks like it was only about 25-ish minutes. So everybody have a great day, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks, everyone.
All right, take care.